Hello, my dear. How are you today? Are you good? Or are you great? If you're ready for today's lesson, let's go. Today we will learn present simple structure with you and their frequency of adverbs. Now, today we have to pay attention to three adverbs: always, sometimes, and never. Again, always, sometimes, never. When we do this action for 100%, we will say always. If we do this action for 50%, we will say 50, okay? If we will never do this thing, we will say never, okay, my dear? Now, let's continue. For example, how often do you brush your teeth? How often do you brush your teeth? I always brush my teeth. I always brush my teeth. Or, how often do you play tennis? How often do you play tennis? I sometimes play tennis. I sometimes play tennis. How often do you cook? How often do you cook? I never cook. I never cook. My dear, let's continue. Look at the picture and choose the correct adverb of frequency. Okay? Now, let's start. If the star is full, we have to say it is positive. If it is not the full, we have to say what? The doer doesn't do the action. For example, for the first one, yes, my dear, let's do this one first. For example, my mother, look at this, never eats bananas. My mother never eats bananas. Or, next one, Peter sometimes plays the guitar. Peter sometimes plays the guitar. Or, they always drink orange juice. They always drink orange juice. Yes, my dear. Good job. Let's continue. Now, in the next activities, we have to answer for the questions about ourselves. For example, let's start. For example, how often do you play football? How often do you play football? Or how often do you play soccer? I never play soccer. How often do you paint a picture? Yes, I sometimes paint a picture. Or, how often do you ride a bike? How often do you ride a bike? I sometimes ride a bike. How often do you eat chocolate? How often do you eat chocolate? Or how often do you eat soap? How often do you eat soap? I sometimes eat soap. How often do you sing? How often do you sing? I sometimes sing. Now, how often do you watch TV? How often do you watch TV? I always watch TV. How often do you drink milk? How often do you drink milk? I sometimes drink milk. My dear, it was very interesting question to make, yes, this one. But now you have to repeat all the questions and give me your answers for these questions. Now we did all the activity of today's lesson. That's why I have to say goodbye to you. Goodbye. See you next lesson.